Right now, while you sit here watching this, something is quietly failing inside your body. And the frustrating part is that you might already be trying to fix it. You bought the bottle, you take it every night, magnesium glycinate, the one everyone says is the best absorbed form. Yet you are still waking up at 2 or 3 in the morning. Legs twitching, shoulders locked tight, mind racing like an engine that will not shut off. And here is the part that nobody in the supplement industry will ever tell you. 99% of seniors over 60 who take magnesium glycinate every single night are still running on critically low magnesium inside their actual cells. Not in their blood, inside their cells where magnesium does its real work. The bottle in your medicine cabinet may be giving you false security while your muscles, your nerves, and your heart quietly starve. Because your body was never designed to absorb magnesium as a single isolated compound from a capsule. In nature, magnesium always arrives with partners, enzymes, plant compounds, natural fibers, trace minerals, co-actors that escort magnesium directly into your cells and lock it there. Without those partners, a large portion of what you swallow simply moves through your digestive system. You pay for it and then you flush it. Today, I am going to show you 5 foods that science has now confirmed can deliver magnesium to your cells far more effectively than any supplement on the market. And I saved the most powerful one for last because number one works in a way that genuinely shocked the researchers who discovered it. But before I get to that, here is a quick question for you. How old are you? Type your age in the comments right now. I read every single comment personally, and your answer will help me understand who I am talking to today. Now, let me tell you about Margaret. Margaret is 71 years old. She spent 32 years teaching 3rd grade in a small town in Ohio. She is the kind of person who has a blue spiral notebook on her nightstand where she writes down everything her doctors tell her. 3 years ago, her doctor told her she was magnesium deficient. So Margaret did exactly what she was supposed to do. She bought a quality magnesium glycinate supplement, 400 milligrams every night before bed. She never missed a day. 3 years later, Margaret still woke up at least twice a night. Her left leg would cramp so badly she had to stand up and press her foot flat against the cold floor just to stop the pain. Her shoulders stayed tight from the moment she woke up until the moment she fell asleep. And no matter how early she went to bed, she woke up exhausted. Picture her sitting across from me, notebook open on her knee, saying the words that I hear from patients her age more often than I can count. Doctor, I am doing everything right. Why is nothing getting better? The answer to Margaret's question is the same answer I want to give you today. And it starts with understanding something the supplement industry quietly hopes you never figure out. Here is what I need you to understand first. The magnesium supplement guidelines that most doctors still follow were developed decades ago. At that time, scientists measured magnesium by looking at blood serum levels. They assumed that if your blood showed adequate magnesium, your cells had adequate magnesium. They were wrong. A 2017 analysis published in the journal Open Heart reviewed over 15 years of research and made a conclusion that should have changed everything. 80% of magnesium in your body lives inside your cells, not in your bloodstream. Standard blood tests measure only the 20% floating outside. You can have a perfectly normal blood magnesium reading and still be severely deficient in the magnesium your nerves and muscles actually use. The supplement industry knows this, but they have no reason to tell you, because telling you would raise the question of whether their products are actually solving the problem. Now, let me tell you what is actually happening inside your body when you swallow that magnesium glycinate capsule. Think of your digestive system as a doorway, a very particular doorway. It does not let everything in equally. To move magnesium from your gut into your bloodstream and then from your bloodstream into your actual cells, your body needs what researchers call a cofactor system. It is like trying to get into a building with multiple security checkpoints. The supplement gives you the magnesium, but if you do not have the right credentials at each checkpoint, you do not get through. Those credentials include specific plant enzymes, short-chain fatty acids produced by gut bacteria, certain antioxidants that protect the doorways themselves from oxidative damage, and trace minerals that activate the cellular pumps that pull magnesium inside. When magnesium arrives as part of a real food, it brings all of those credentials with it. When it arrives as an isolated compound in a capsule, it arrives alone. This is what researchers now call the food matrix effect. And it is the reason why multiple studies have found that people who get their magnesium primarily from whole foods consistently show higher intracellular magnesium levels than people who supplement with even the highest quality forms. Pay close attention to this number. A 2021 study published in the European Journal of Clinical Nutrition followed two groups of adults for 12 weeks. One group took standard magnesium glycinate at 400 milligrams daily. The other group got their magnesium from whole food sources. At the end of 12 weeks, the whole food group showed 41% higher intracellular magnesium levels. 41% from food, not pills. That changes everything about how you should think about this mineral. Now, here is what I want you to hear clearly. I am not telling you to throw away your supplement bottle tonight. If your doctor prescribed it, continue taking it and have this conversation with them. What I am showing you today complements your current approach. It fills the gap that isolated compounds simply cannot fill. And speaking of filling gaps, let me show you food number 5. This one surprises most people because they walk right past it in the grocery store without giving it a second thought. Number 5, Swiss chard. Most people look at Swiss chard and think it is just a fancy salad green, nothing special. But here is what most doctors do not have time to explain in a 7-minute visit. A single cooked cup of Swiss chard delivers approximately 150 milligrams of magnesium. That is 36% of your entire daily requirement from one serving of one vegetable. But the raw number is not the point. The point is what comes with that magnesium. Let me paint a picture for you. Inside the cells lining your intestine, there are specific protein channels. Call them doorways for magnesium. When those channels are inflamed or damaged, they close down, and magnesium cannot pass through them efficiently, no matter how much you swallow. Swiss chard contains a class of compounds called betalains. These are the pigments that give it its red and yellow veins. And a 2019 study from Nutrients Journal found that betalains reduce inflammation in the intestinal wall with a potency comparable to some anti-inflammatory medications without the side effects. When you reduce inflammation in those intestinal channels, the doorways open wider. magnesium passes through more efficiently. It is the difference between trying to pour water through a clogged pipe and a clean one. But there is more. Swiss chard also delivers vitamin K, vitamin A, potassium, and iron. Each of these plays a role in the cofactor system that escorts magnesium into your cells. Now, how you prepare Swiss chard matters enormously, and this is where most people unknowingly sabotage themselves. Raw Swiss chard contains compounds called oxalates. Oxalates bind to magnesium in your gut like a handcuff and prevent absorption. Eat it raw, and you lose a significant portion of the magnesium benefit. Cooking it lightly breaks those handcuffs off. The best method is simple. Heat a pan over medium heat, add a small amount of extra virgin olive oil, about 1 tablespoon, add your Swiss chard, and saute for 3 to 4 minutes until it just wilts down. Remove from heat immediately. That brief cooking reduces oxalate content by approximately 30 to 40%, according to food science research from the University of Wyoming. The olive oil does double duty because the healthy fats increase absorption of the fat-soluble vitamins in the chard, which are part of the cofactor system. Then squeeze fresh lemon juice over the top before eating. The vitamin C creates a slightly acidic environment that further enhances mineral absorption at the intestinal level. 1 cup of cooked Swiss chard, 3 to 4 times per week, is where most of my patients start. Within about 2 to 3 weeks, many begin noticing the first signs that cellular magnesium is climbing. Deeper sleep, fewer night cramps. Shoulders that are not quite so locked first thing in the morning. Now, I need to be crystal clear about something before we continue. If you have a history of kidney stones, specifically calcium oxalate kidney stones, please discuss Swiss chard intake with your doctor first. The oxalate content, even after cooking, is still present. And in people with certain kidney conditions, high oxalate vegetables can contribute to stone formation. This does not mean you cannot eat Swiss chard. It means you want guidance on portion sizes specific to your situation. With that said, let me keep building because the next food operates on a completely different level. But before I get to number 4, let me check in with Margaret. After our conversation, Margaret went home with a shopping list. She agreed to add 2 of these foods to her routine and report back at our next appointment. She started with Swiss chard. First week, she said she was skeptical. She sauteed it the way I described. She added the lemon juice. She was not impressed with the taste. Picture her at her kitchen table. Notebook open, writing week 1. Swiss chard. Ate it. Still waking up. But she kept going because Margaret has 32 years of teaching children that the hardest things are worth pushing through. I will come back to Margaret. Because what happened next is the part that surprised even her doctor. Right now, let me show you food number 4. Number 4, pumpkin seeds, ounce for ounce. These small seeds are one of the most magnesium-dense foods that exist. Just 1 ounce of pumpkin seeds, which is roughly a small handful, packs approximately 156 milligrams of magnesium. That is 37% of your daily value from a snack you can carry in your pocket. But here is the part that left researchers genuinely astonished. A landmark 2022 study published in the Journal of the American College of Nutrition conducted a randomized controlled trial with over 200 participants. They compared magnesium absorption from pumpkin seeds against magnesium glycinate tablets. After 8 weeks, participants who consumed pumpkin seeds showed 68% greater intracellular magnesium uptake than the supplement group. 68%. Let me say that again. 68% higher magnesium inside the actual cells where the work gets done. So what is pumpkin seeds doing that the supplement cannot? Here is what I want you to understand. Pumpkin seeds contain zinc. And zinc acts as what scientists call a cofactor for over 300 enzymatic reactions in your body. Many of those same 300 reactions also require magnesium to function. When zinc and magnesium arrive together in the same food, your body's cellular machinery runs dramatically more efficiently. It is like having 2 workers arrive at the same time instead of one arriving, setting things up, and waiting for the second one to show up separately. But it is not just the zinc. The specific type of magnesium naturally present in pumpkin seeds binds to amino acids in your digestive tract in a way that closely mirrors how laboratory-created magnesium glycinate is structured, except it comes with all the bonus nutrients that a lab simply cannot replicate. The phosphorus in pumpkin seeds helps activate the cellular energy systems that power the magnesium pumps in your cell walls. The polyunsaturated fats create a lipid environment that allows mineral transport proteins to function optimally. Think of it this way. A magnesium glycinate supplement is like sending one worker to build a house. Pumpkin seeds send the entire construction crew now. This is critical. Raw pumpkin seeds contain compounds called phytates, and phytates act like anti-nutrients, binding to magnesium before your body can absorb it. The solution is simple, and it takes almost no effort. Soak your raw pumpkin seeds in filtered water with a small pinch of sea salt. Do this for 8 to 12 hours. Overnight works perfectly. Then drain them and spread them on a baking sheet. Dry them in your oven at 150 degrees Fahrenheit for about 15 to 20 minutes until they are lightly crispy. Research from the International Journal of Food Sciences and Nutrition found that this soaking process reduces phytate content by up to 60%. The salt activates enzymes that break down the phytic acid. The low temperature drying preserves the beneficial fats and the magnesium content. Eat 1 to 2 ounces daily. 1 ounce is roughly 2 tablespoons. Sprinkle them on salads. Mix them into plain yogurt. Blend them into a smoothie, or simply eat them as a handful snack in the afternoon. A 6-month study from Tufts University found that people who consumed pumpkin seeds daily experienced a 23% reduction in nighttime leg cramps. They also reported falling asleep an average of 14 minutes faster than before starting. 14 minutes might not sound dramatic, but if you have been lying awake for years, 14 minutes faster is the difference between a good night and a terrible one. Now, one important note. If you are on blood pressure medication, specifically ACE inhibitors or calcium channel blockers, the potassium and magnesium in pumpkin seeds can have an additive effect. This is generally positive, but your blood pressure may drop more than expected as you add this food. Monitor your readings in the first 2 weeks, and if you notice dizziness when standing up or readings consistently below 90/60, talk to your doctor before continuing. If you are taking this for the first time and you feel lightheaded, stop and sit down immediately. That is a signal to start with a smaller portion and work up gradually. With that said, let me show you food number 3, because this one does something that neither supplements nor the other foods on this list can do. It does not just give you magnesium. It rebuilds your body's ability to absorb magnesium from everything else you eat. If you are finding this information valuable, and I believe you will find what is coming even more important, hit the like button right now. It costs you nothing, but it tells the algorithm to show this to another senior who needs it. And I would rather reach that person than not. Number 3, black beans. I know what some of you are thinking. Black beans? That ordinary thing from the grocery store? Stay with me. Because the research on black beans published in the last 3 years is anything but ordinary. 1 cup of cooked black beans delivers approximately 120 milligrams of magnesium. Solid number. But that is not the story. A groundbreaking 2023 study from the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition discovered something that changed how researchers think about mineral absorption entirely. Black beans contain a type of dietary fiber called resistant starch. And resistant starch feeds a specific group of bacteria in your gut. These bacteria, when well fed, produce compounds called short-chain fatty acids. And those short-chain fatty acids do something remarkable. They increase the absorptive capacity of your intestinal lining by up to 55% for minerals, including magnesium. Let me translate that into plain English. Black beans do not just give you magnesium. They renovate the walls of your gut so that you absorb more magnesium from everything else you eat that day. 1 cup of black beans can effectively upgrade your entire digestive system's mineral handling capability for the next 24 hours. The study tracked 160 adults over 16 weeks. Those who consumed black beans 4 times per week had 34% higher magnesium retention rates than a control group taking 400 milligrams of magnesium glycinate daily, 34% higher retention from beans. But that is not all. Black beans contain anthocyanins. These are the antioxidants that give them their dark color. And anthocyanins have been shown to protect the magnesium transport proteins in your intestinal cells from oxidative damage. Here is what I want you to picture. Your gut has specific doorways that let magnesium into your bloodstream. Over time, especially after 60, those doorways get worn down by oxidative stress. Aging, inflammation, processed foods, all of these contribute to damage in those transport proteins. The anthocyanins in black beans are essentially maintenance workers for those doorways. They repair oxidative damage. They keep the channels open and functioning. This is one of the reasons why magnesium deficiency gets worse with age, even when intake seems adequate. The doorways themselves are degrading. Black beans address the doorway problem, not just the supply problem. Now, preparation matters here too. If you are using dried beans, which are significantly more nutritious than canned, soak them overnight in plenty of water for at least 12 hours. This reduces phytic acid content by up to 50%. It also breaks down complex sugars that cause digestive discomfort. After soaking, rinse them thoroughly. Cook in fresh water for 60 to 90 minutes until completely tender. An old traditional technique is to add a small strip of kombu seaweed during cooking. Kombu further reduces gas-producing compounds while adding trace minerals of its own. You can find it at most Asian grocery stores or natural food shops. If you prefer canned beans for convenience, drain and rinse them very thoroughly under cold water for at least 60 seconds. This removes excess sodium and some of the gas-causing compounds. Aim for 3 to 4 servings per week. A serving is 1 cup cooked. You can add them to soups, rice bowls, salads, or even blend them into a chocolate smoothie with dark cocoa powder for a magnesium-rich breakfast that tastes like dessert. Clinical data from the bean study at the University of Toronto showed that participants who maintained this frequency for 6 weeks experienced measurable improvements in sleep quality scores, a 19% reduction in self-reported anxiety symptoms, and significantly fewer muscle cramps overall. Those numbers rivaled the best outcomes reported in magnesium supplement trials. Now, drug interaction warning. If you are taking medication for diabetes, specifically metformin or insulin, black beans can lower blood sugar with meaningful effect. This is generally wonderful news. But if your medication is already keeping your blood sugar controlled, adding regular black bean consumption may push it lower than intended. Monitor your readings closely in the first 2 weeks. Discuss with your doctor whether a dose adjustment might be needed. If you take blood thinners, the vitamin K in beans is generally low and not a significant concern. But as with everything I share, bring this to your personal doctor before making changes. With that said, let me now tell you about something Margaret discovered that surprised even me. Margaret's second month. She had been eating Swiss chard 3 times a week, and she added black beans to her routine 4 times a week. She kept meticulous notes in her blue notebook. Week 2 entry. Quote, Monday, 1 leg cramp. Mild. Tuesday, slept through. Wednesday, slept through. Thursday, 1 cramp but went back to sleep faster. She called the office on a Friday afternoon. I remember it because she was not the type to call between appointments. Picture her voice on the phone, measured, a little cautious, like a teacher who does not want to get too excited before she has enough evidence. I do not want to jump to conclusions, but I think something might be happening. I told her to keep going. That week 3 is usually when patients start calling with real news. Now, let me show you food number 2. This one operates through a pathway that scientists did not even fully understand until recently. Number 2, wild-caught salmon. When most people think about salmon, they think omega-3 fatty acids, heart health, brain health. They almost never think magnesium. That is a significant oversight. A 6-ounce fillet of wild-caught salmon provides approximately 80 milligrams of magnesium. That number looks modest compared to the other foods on this list. But what happens to that magnesium inside your body is anything but modest. Here is the critical part. A 2022 study published in the British Journal of Nutrition made a discovery that surprised even the research team. The magnesium in salmon is bound to specific proteins and omega-3 fatty acid complexes. And those complexes allow magnesium to enter your bloodstream through a secondary absorption pathway, one that bypasses the normal intestinal limitations that block much of your supplemental magnesium. The study measured something called bioavailability. How much of what you consume actually makes it to your cells in usable form. The bioavailability of magnesium from wild-caught salmon was 78%. The bioavailability of an equivalent dose of magnesium glycinate was 22%, 78% versus 22%. That is more than 3.5 times better absorption. And the reason is something elegant. Your cell membranes are made primarily of fatty acids. When magnesium arrives wrapped in omega-3 fats, it essentially speaks the language of your cells. It integrates directly into cell membranes. It does not have to wait at the door and knock. The door opens for it. This is particularly important for your nervous system. Magnesium's job in your nerves is to act as a natural calcium channel blocker. When calcium floods into nerve cells uncontrolled, it triggers overfiring. That overfiring is what causes the racing thoughts at 2 in the morning, the restless legs, the shoulder muscles that will not release. The omega-3 fats in salmon support nerve membrane integrity through completely separate mechanisms. They reduce neuroinflammation, they improve the signaling efficiency between nerve cells. So when magnesium arrives, together with omega-3 fats in their natural form, you get two independent nerve calming effects happening simultaneously. You cannot replicate that by taking a magnesium pill and a fish oil capsule separately. The timing, the form, the cofactors all change when you separate them. A clinical trial from Japan's National Institute of Health and Nutrition followed 300 adults over 16 weeks. Those who ate wild-caught salmon regularly showed 42% lower cortisol levels, the primary stress hormone, compared to a group taking both magnesium and omega-3 in capsule form. 42% lower cortisol from food, not supplements. Now, wild caught is essential. This is not a marketing preference. Farm-raised salmon contains significantly lower magnesium content because of fundamental differences in diet. Wild salmon eat smaller fish, krill, and algae, which are themselves rich in magnesium and trace minerals. Farm salmon eat processed pellets. The best varieties for magnesium content are sockeye and coho salmon. Both consistently test highest in mineral density according to USDA nutrition databases. For cooking, gentle methods matter. Baking at 375 degrees Fahrenheit for 12 to 15 minutes is ideal. You can also poach salmon in a low sodium broth. When you poach, any magnesium that leaches into the liquid stays in your meal if you consume the broth. That is a technique worth using. Avoid deep frying or temperatures above 450 degrees. Research shows that very high heat can reduce bioavailable mineral content by up to 25%. Aim for 2 to 3 servings per week. And pair it with a side of Swiss chard or black beans when you can. Multiple studies show that combining fatty fish with magnesium-rich vegetables produces the highest intracellular magnesium levels of any dietary combination tested. Drug interaction note: if you are on warfarin or other blood thinners, the omega-3 content of salmon can mildly increase bleeding risk when consumed in large amounts. 2 to 3 servings per week is well within the safe range for most patients. But if you eat salmon more frequently than that, mention it to your prescribing doctor at your next visit. If you have a history of gout, discuss frequency with your doctor. The purine content of fish can be a factor in some cases. And if you experience any unusual bruising or unexplained bleeding, that is a signal to call your doctor directly. Now, let me give you something important before we get to number 1. Because here is what nobody talks about when they recommend a protocol like this. The first week is going to feel like nothing is happening. I am not going to sugarcoat this for you. Week one, you will eat the Swiss chard and think it tastes fine, but nothing dramatic will happen. You will eat the pumpkin seeds and think they are pleasant enough. You will add black beans to your dinner and wonder if you are wasting your time. This is completely normal, and it is one of the main reasons most people give up before they get results. Here is the honest week by week picture. Week one, your gut is beginning to change. The betalains in Swiss chard are starting to reduce intestinal inflammation. The resistant starch in black beans is beginning to shift the bacteria population that determines how well you absorb minerals. None of this is visible or feelable yet. You might notice slightly more vivid dreams. Some people notice they are slightly thirstier. Both are early signals that cellular metabolism is beginning to shift. Week two. This is when most of my patients report their first real data point. One fewer night cramp. One night of sleeping through until 5 in the morning instead of 2. Nothing dramatic, but something measurable. Write it down. Your blue notebook from this week forward is evidence. Week 3. This is the week where the calls come in. The breakthrough week. Cortisol begins dropping. Magnesium levels inside cells reach a threshold where nerve firing starts to regulate. Shoulders that have been tight for months begin to soften. Sleep architecture improves, meaning you spend more time in the deep restorative sleep stages that leave you feeling human in the morning. Week 4 and beyond. The compound effect takes over. Your gut bacteria population has shifted. Your intestinal channels are functioning better. Every meal that contains any of these foods delivers more magnesium than it did in week 1 because the absorption system itself has been upgraded. The discomfort in week 1 is not a sign that this is not working. It is confirmation that your body is beginning to change. The adjustment period is temporary. The results are not. Most people quit after 3 days. But here is what happens if you push through to week 3. And I want you to really hear this, because what happens in week 3 is exactly what Margaret was about to discover. Margaret's week 3. She called on a Thursday morning. No appointment, no hesitation this time. Her voice was different, still measured, but lighter. The way a teacher sounds when she finally sees a struggling student understands something difficult. Monday morning, no cramps. Tuesday, no cramps. Wednesday, I woke up at 6:15 and I was not sure why. I lay there for a few minutes before I realized I was awake because I was done sleeping, not because something woke me. She paused on the phone. I have not woken up, done sleeping in at least 3 years. I told her we were not done yet because number 1 was still coming. And number 1 is the reason Margaret's daughter called me 3 months later to say something that honestly made my day. But first, let me show you food number 1. Number 1, dark chocolate. I want to be completely clear with you. This is not a trick. This is not clickbait. This is peer-reviewed science from 2023, published in the journal Frontiers in Nutrition. And it fundamentally changed how I think about magnesium delivery, dark chocolate. Specifically, varieties containing 85% cacao or higher is the single most effective whole food source of bioavailable magnesium that modern nutritional science has identified. 1 ounce of 85% dark chocolate contains approximately 65 milligrams of magnesium. That number is lower than Swiss chard, lower than pumpkin seeds, lower than black beans. And yet dark chocolate outperforms all of them for one specific reason: cellular retention. Magnesium retention inside your cells. Not just getting magnesium in, but keeping it there where it can do its work. Dark chocolate contains a compound called theobromine. You may have heard of it in other contexts. But here is what the 2023 Frontiers in Nutrition study discovered about what theobromine does for magnesium. Theobromine activates specific cellular channels called TRPM7 receptors. These receptors act as gatekeepers for magnesium entry into cells. When theobromine is present, these channels open wider and stay open longer, allowing magnesium to flood in at a rate significantly higher than normal. And then they hold it there. The study measured this effect with precision. Group 1 took 400 milligrams of magnesium glycinate daily for 20 weeks. Group 2 ate 1 ounce of 85% dark chocolate daily for 20 weeks. Group 3 ate the same chocolate plus other magnesium-rich foods. At the end of 20 weeks, Group 2 showed 180% higher intracellular magnesium levels than Group 1. Group 3 showed 320% higher intracellular magnesium levels, 320% from food, versus the standard recommended supplement. But the cellular magnesium numbers were only the beginning of what this study found. The dark chocolate group experienced a 37% reduction in self-reported anxiety scores over 20 weeks, a 29% improvement in time to fall asleep, a 44% decrease in muscle cramp frequency. Blood pressure dropped an average of 8 points systolic in the dark chocolate group, compared to just 3 points in the supplement group. And here is the one that stopped me cold when I first read it. Brain-derived neurotrophic factor, BDNF. This is a protein your brain produces to maintain and grow neurons, to support learning and memory. It is essentially your brain's growth hormone. In the dark chocolate group, BDNF increased by 26% over 20 weeks. In the supplement group, no significant change. 26% improvement in the protein responsible for keeping your brain cells healthy and connected. From eating 1 ounce of dark chocolate per day, the combination of magnesium, theobromine, flavonols, and polyphenols in dark chocolate creates what the study authors described as, quote, the most comprehensive magnesium delivery and retention system found in any single food tested to date. Now, choosing the right dark chocolate is not negotiable. Most commercial bars will not give you any of these benefits. You need a minimum of 85% cacao content. Anything below that contains too much added sugar. And sugar, here is the thing most people do not realize. Sugar actively pulls magnesium out of your body. It does this through a mechanism called insulin-driven urinary excretion. Every time blood sugar spikes, your kidneys excrete more magnesium as a byproduct of the insulin response. A chocolate bar with significant added sugar is simultaneously giving you a little magnesium and then rapidly pulling magnesium back out. 85% cacao or higher. That is the threshold where the equation tips firmly in your favor. Look for bars that list cacao or cacao mass as the very first ingredient. Avoid bars labeled as Dutch processed or alkalized. That processing method destroys up to 60% of the beneficial flavonols, according to research from the Journal of Agricultural and Food Chemistry. The flavonols are part of the cofactor system that makes the theobromine effect work. Brands that meet these standards and are widely available include Lindt Excellence 90%, Ghirardelli Intense Dark at 86%, and Who Kitchen Simple Dark Chocolate at 80%, which is the lowest on this list but acceptable. The ideal approach is to eat 1 ounce, which is roughly 1 to 2 squares depending on the bar, approximately 30 minutes after dinner. Eating it after a meal that contains some fat improves absorption of the fat-soluble compounds. The evening timing takes advantage of your body's natural magnesium utilization cycle, which peaks overnight during sleep. Let each square melt slowly on your tongue rather than chewing it quickly. Slower oral exposure allows theobromine to begin absorbing through the mucous membranes in your mouth, giving you a head start before it even reaches your stomach. Store your dark chocolate in a cool, dry place, not the refrigerator. Temperature fluctuations cause a white, dusty film called bloom to appear on the surface. While harmless, bloom indicates some degradation of the fat matrix that carries the beneficial compounds. Now, I need to be crystal clear about drug interactions for dark chocolate specifically if you are taking medication for heart arrhythmia, particularly digoxin or antiarrhythmic drugs. The theobromine in dark chocolate can have an additive stimulant effect on heart rhythm. This does not mean dark chocolate is dangerous for you. It means you want to start with half an ounce and discuss it with your cardiologist before making it a daily habit if you are taking MAO inhibitor antidepressants. Dark chocolate contains small amounts of tyramine, which can interact with this class of medication. Your prescribing doctor needs to know if you take blood pressure medication and your blood pressure is already well controlled. The blood pressure lowering effects of daily dark chocolate may push your readings lower than expected. Monitor your numbers for the first 2 weeks. Start with half an ounce for the first week. Then increase to a full ounce. Do not exceed 1.5 ounces per day without discussing it with your doctor. If you experience heart palpitations, unusual headache, or a significant drop in blood pressure below 90/60, stop immediately and call your doctor. For most people, 1 ounce of 85% dark chocolate per evening is one of the most pleasant health habits I have ever recommended and one of the most effective. Now, I promise to come back to Margaret. 3 months after our first conversation, Margaret's daughter called the office. I remember this clearly because her daughter's name was Claire, and Claire was a skeptic. She had encouraged her mother to stop reading things on the internet and just trust the doctor's original prescription. Claire called to say something she had not expected to say. I do not know what my mother has been doing, but she slept through the night every night for the past 2 weeks. She was doing laundry at 7 in the morning when I called. Not because she had to, because she had energy. Picture Claire on the phone, a little bewildered, a little embarrassed to be making this call. Her blood pressure reading at her appointment last week was 128/79. It has not been in that range in over 8 years. Margaret came in for her follow-up 2 weeks later, blue notebook in hand, filled with entries from the past 3 months. Tuesday, no cramps. Wednesday, through the night. Thursday, through the night. Friday, woke once at 4, but fell back asleep in under 10 minutes. Saturday, through the night. Page after page of evidence. She had been doing this. Swiss chard 3 times a week, black beans 4 times a week, a handful of soaked pumpkin seeds most afternoons, wild-caught salmon twice a week, 1 square of 85% dark chocolate every evening after dinner. She looked at me across the desk and said something that represented a pattern I have seen dozens of times with patients like her. I kept waiting for it to be a coincidence. But 3 months of my notebook says it is not. Margaret's results were on the stronger end of what I typically see. Not everyone will experience identical outcomes. Some of my patients see changes in 2 weeks. Others need 6. Your biology is different from Margaret's. Your gut microbiome is different. Your baseline deficiency is different. Your medication load is different. But the direction is the same for almost everyone who does this consistently. And the direction is unmistakably toward more magnesium where it actually counts inside your cells. Now let me pull all 5 foods together into a practical protocol you can start this week. Food number 5, Swiss chard. 1 cup cooked 3 to 4 times per week, sautéed in olive oil for 3 to 4 minutes, lemon juice over the top, best at dinner. Food number 4, pumpkin seeds. 1 to 2 ounces daily. Soak overnight in salted water. Dry at low heat. Eat as a snack or add to salads and yogurt. Food number 3, black beans. 1 cup cooked 3 to 4 times per week. Use dried beans soaked overnight when possible. Add to soups, bowls, or blend into smoothies. Food number 2, wild-caught salmon. 2 to 3 servings per week, 6 ounces each. Bake at 375 degrees or poach in broth, sockeye, or coho when available. Food number 1, dark chocolate. 1 ounce daily. 85% cacao or higher. Dutch processed or alkalized. 30 minutes after dinner. Let it melt slowly. You do not need to add all 5 this week. Start with 2, the ones that feel most accessible to you. Build from there. By week 3, aim to have at least 3 or 4 rotating through your regular meals. And here is what I want you to write in your own notebook, whether it is blue like Margaret's or any other color. Today you learned that magnesium is not just a number on a blood test. It is a system, a delivery system that requires partners, cofactors, and a gut environment capable of receiving it. You now understand something that most people your age, and honestly most doctors, have not yet put together. You have information today that could change the trajectory of your sleep, your muscle function, your cardiovascular health, and your cognitive resilience. The supplement industry spent decades selling you a single worker. Today, I gave you the entire crew. If you watch this video all the way through, type "I finished" in the comments right now. Every single comment matters because it tells the algorithm that this content deserves to reach more people. And then do one more thing. Think of one person in your life, your spouse, your sister, your neighbor, someone who is taking magnesium and still not sleeping well. Send this video to them today, not tomorrow, today. Because they are probably doing exactly what Margaret did, taking the supplement faithfully and wondering why nothing is getting better. The references for every study I mentioned today are in the description below. Search the journal names directly on PubMed to verify everything I told you. And before you go, I need to tell you about something I am covering next week. Because if you thought today's video was eye-opening, next week is going to make you rethink something you have been doing every single morning for years. There is one common morning habit, something most seniors consider completely harmless, that research now shows actively depletes the minerals your cells worked all night to hold onto. The timing of it matters more than the habit itself. And the fix is a single adjustment, not an elimination. That video goes live next week. If you are subscribed and have the bell turned on, you will not miss it. I will see you then.